Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badharayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritav Vande Bhagavantav Punah Punah. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Graditam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamrita Varshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvam Anusandadhami Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutah Stunvanti Devyaistavaihi Vedai Sangapadakramopanisadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagah Dhyanavastita Dadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyantam na vidusura suraganah Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha. Hari Om. The introductory first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita serves two purposes. The first purpose is to present the basic and the universal problem of mankind, and that is known as samsara. Bhagwan Vedavyasa describes this disease in the first chapter because the entire Gita, the Gita Shastra, gives a remedy to this universal disease. He presents this disease as a combination of three different diseases, namely raga, attachment, shoka, sorrow or grief, and moha, delusion or confusion. Making us aware of samsara is the purpose of the first chapter. The purpose of the rest of the 17 chapters is to teach us how to get out of this whirlpool or vicious cycle of samsara, so that I am independent. Not physically, but emotionally. That kind of independence is moksha, liberation. So we have seen up to this last class. Now we continue. The second purpose of the first chapter is to introduce the Guru and the Shishya, and also the context. Why should the text introduce the Guru and Shishya? All spiritual teachings that are found in the scriptures are in the form of a dialogue. They are presented in the form of a dialogue to show, first, we have to gain this spiritual knowledge only with the help of a spiritual guide. We should never attempt this study individually. You can supplement this with individual study, and you have to do that. Mananam, we talk about Mananam, which is on your own only. But first we should get this knowledge from a guru. Just like self-medication is never advisable. It will be counterproductive and dangerous also. Same applies for this spiritual knowledge. So the dialogue underscores the need for a spiritual teacher. With a spiritual seeker, we will make consistent progress. So the importance of a guru is highlighted, and then the qualifications of the teacher and that of the student is also presented. So the second purpose of introducing the teacher and the student is to show who is a qualified guru, who is a qualified shishya. And of course, in this case, Bhagwan Sri Krishna is the guru, he is the Jagat Guru. And the student is Arjuna. And we will see in this first chapter how he becomes a fit student. In fact, early in the second chapter, we will really see from what he says that he has become a qualified student. And then the context is also presented. The context of this teaching is the Mahabharata war. It's a war between the Pandavas, who are dharmic people, and Kauravas, who are adharmic, unrighteous. And the Pandavas wanted to avoid the war by all means. They knew Kauravas were adharmic, and they had done all kinds of wicked, evil things. They took away the kingdom that rightfully belonged to the Pandavas. Those of you who are listening to the Mahabharata story, we will come to that. We have not come to those episodes, but you already know. So, Kauravas were wicked, evil by nature. Even though that was the case, yet the Pandavas tried all non-violent methods to mediate the dispute. And we have also read Ahimsa Paramo Dharma, non-violence, primary value. Being dharmic, Pandavas tried all non-violent methods first. Did not work. As a last resort, they decided to engage in war. Now we must understand this very clearly. Himsa is accepted in our scriptures under certain conditions. We must understand the conditions. Ahimsa is not an absolute value. Ahimsa is a conditional value. The Shastras allow himsa under certain conditions. Under certain conditions, you may resort to himsa. Even our gods, all our gods, who are said to be the personification of compassion, they all carry weapons. If non-violent methods fail, for the purpose of paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya, Bhagavan himself will say, destruction, violence is allowed. It is not adharma. We have to clearly understand when you can use that. It cannot be an excuse for violence. No. There are also other common examples. For example, a surgeon, he may have to amputate a limb to save the rest of that person. No doctor wants to hurt a patient. In the greater good for that person, he may have to do surgery. After trying all methods to save the limb through medication, and having failed, amputation would have been the final recourse. And even when the doctor cuts open somebody, that's painful. So even while doing that, the person is put under anesthesia so that he doesn't feel the pain. And post-surgery also, there will be pain, so we treat the pain with medication, all that. We have to do all that. So Pandavas also tried various methods, and they even hired Bhagavan himself as the emissary to negotiate. Nothing worked. So after a lot of deliberation, they have to take this decision to go to war. They determined war was the only solution. So there we are in the battlefield. When the two armies are joined in the battle and are ready to fight, Arjuna wanted to supervise the army of the opposite side. He asked Bhagavan Sri Krishna to take his chariot and place it in front of the opposition, the opposite army. And he looks around, he surveys the people around. The people whom he sees do not happen to be Duryodhana and company. If he had seen him, immediately he would have taken the bow and shot an arrow. And Bhagavan, as usual, does the mischief. Arjuna asked him to take the chariot and place it between the armies. He could have placed it anywhere, but strategically he takes it and puts it right in front of Bhishma and Drona. With those two, with Bhishma and Drona, with them, Arjuna has the problem of with Bhishma and Drona, Arjuna had a lot of attachment. So how do you know if something is an attachment or love? It's very difficult. And I've talked about it in the last class. As mentioned before, the difference is that attachment will lead a person to violate dharma. Whereas in the case of love, there will be no such violation. Arjuna had the problem of attachment because his thinking became clouded. Why do you say that? Very simple. After years of dealing with the Kauravas, Pandavas had come to the conclusion. As I said, they came to the conclusion that the war was unavoidable, inevitable. Yet he begins to see the righteous war as unrighteous. His perception was totally twisted. Dharma is seen as adharma. Having decided on the war, a Kshatriya has to fight. Once you have decided, you are on the battlefield, you have to fight. Not run away from the war, run away from the battle, you should not. If Arjuna does that and goes to the forest to be a sannyasi, that is a misplaced sannyasa. Misplaced sannyasa. It is just running away from the problem. Arjuna knows all that very well. And he talks about taking sannyasa. He's completely deluded, totally confused. Eventually, Arjuna fesses up and seeks Bhagavan Sri Krishna's help to remove his confusion. So, in the first chapter, we find that Arjuna goes through the problem of attachment towards Bhishma and Drona. Then the sorrow of having to kill them, and finally to confused thinking. So he finds in himself helpless, unable to make a decision. So once he realizes that, once he comes to that realization, at that time he did the right thing, finally. He surrenders to Bhagavan. So the qualification of the student that is brought forth here is discovery of the human problem. You must know you are in trouble. You must know you have a problem. This is the prerequisite for a spiritual seeker. Even the other things, drug, alcohol, etc. Finally, that person must say, I have an addiction problem, addicted to drugs or alcohol. Till that time, they will just say, so many excuses they will give. They say, I don't have a problem. I'm just a social drinker. Like that. But finally, if they want to get out of that alcoholism, they first have to admit that they have a problem. No different in the spiritual field also. So this is prerequisite, this is a qualification for the student. How about the teacher? Of course, the teacher must be free from that disease. He should also know the remedy. Luckily, we have Bhagwan, who is the Jagat Guru, immensely qualified. We don't have to worry about the qualification of the teacher. So the conditions are perfect now for a spiritual dialogue. between a qualified student and a qualified teacher. The dialogue actually begins, as I've said a couple times earlier, from the 11th verse of the second chapter. So the first chapter that we are going to see is a precursor to that. The problem has been presented beautifully, elaborately. The teacher and the students will be introduced. So now we begin with the first verse of the first chapter. Dhritarashtra uvacha, Dhritarashtra uvacha, Dharma kshetre kurukshetre, Dharma kshetre kurukshetre, Samavetayuyutsavah, Samavetayuyutsavah, Mamakah Pandavaschaiva, Mamakah Pandavaschaiva, Kimakurvata Sanjaya, Kimakurvata Sanjaya. Dhritarashtra uvacha, Dharma kshetre kurukshetre, Samavetayuyutsavah, Mamakah Pandavaschaiva, Kimakurvata Sanjaya. So, Vyasacharya presents the context. The two armies have assembled on the battlefield. And Dhritarashtra asks Sanjaya, what is happening there? Dhritarashtra is the blind father of Duryodhana. The blindness of Dhritarashtra indicates his lack of discrimination. Even though he knew that Kauravas are taken to adharma, he does not stop them because of his problem of attachment to his sons. Even if he did not know what is dharma and adharma, Vidura was very much there. Okay? Vidura was there, advising him, guiding him. He will talk to Vidura and he will say, this is what I need to do. Then Vidura goes out and Duryodhana will come in. Totally change his mind. That is how his life went on. Deliberately he violates all the norms. The inward blindness is symbolized in the Mahabharata as blindness externally also. Even though he is blind, because of the grace of Vyasacharya, he is given the opportunity to know what is happening on the battlefield. Sanjaya is given the special power of television. The ability to see what is beyond the range of perception. It was a Divya Drishti. Sanjaya had that. Vyasacharya has blessed him with that Divya Drishti. Not only was able to see what was going on in the battlefield, he was sitting in the palace with Dhritarashtra. He was not on the battlefield, but he's able to see, just like we sit here and what is happening thousands of miles away, we are able to see with modern technology. Like that, he had that vision. Not only that, he had the ability to know what was going on in the minds of the players also. We will see that. So, Sanjaya was the reporter. He was reporting what was happening on the battlefield to Dhritarashtra. So, Dhritarashtra asks, "Hey Sanjaya, Kim Akurvata, what did they, the two people What did they do? And who are they? Mamakaha Pandavaha cha eva. Mamakaha means my people, namely the Kauravas. And Pandavaha means the sons of Pandu. Even in the statement, the lack of discrimination of Dhritarashtra is evident. He's clearly making a distinction. He is calling Duryodhana and all that my sons. Pandava's sons are also his sons, his brother's sons. And his brother is not there anymore. Even if his brother is there, we always treat our siblings' children as our children only. But very specifically he says Pandavaha, Pandu's sons. So you can see the lack of discrimination. His attachment to his sons clouding his intellect. So that's why I said Dhritarashtra was not only externally blind, internally also he was blind. Attachment. Where there is attachment, a person cannot be impartial, cannot be objective, cannot have proper discrimination, cannot have judgment. Okay, how have they assembled? Where have they assembled? Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta. They have assembled in Kurukshetra. Kurukshetra is the name of the place. Kurukshetra is there even today, near Delhi. If you go there, they show you this is the battlefield where Mahabharata was fought. That doesn't seem to be a big field. When we read the description, Mahabharata, it's huge. Now when you go there, it may not seem that big. And maybe the battle covered a lot bigger area. We don't know. Anyway, it was called Kurukshetra. And Kurukshetra, which is Dharmakshetra, the land of Dharma. The entire Bharata is considered the land of Dharma. And in that land, in that Kurukshetra, Samaveta, they have assembled. For what purpose? Were they having a party? No. Yutsavaha. With a desire to fight. Very unfortunate desire. But what to do, it is what it is. Kim akurvata. Then what did they do? What happened at that time? So this is Dhritarashtra's question. To which Sanjaya Vuvacha Drishtva tu Pandavanikam Drishtva tu Pandavanikam Vyudham Duryodhanastada Vyudham Duryodhanastada Acharyamupasangamya Acharyamupasangamya Raja Vachanamabravit Raja Vachanamabravit Sanjaya Vuvacha Drishtva tu Pandavanikam Vyudam Duryodhanastada Acharyamupasangamya Raja Vachanamabravit. So to Dhritarashtra's question, Sanjaya answers. Tada, at that time, Raja refers to Duryodhana, the king, Pandavanikam Drishtva, having seen the army of Pandavas. Anikam means army, that was Vyudam, well arranged. according to the science of battle. There are various arrays or arrangements, tactical positioning of the army personnel. After surveying the array, Acharyam Upasangamya, he approached his teacher, his guru in warfare, and that is Dronacharya. Vachanam Abravit, and said these words. So what did Duryodhana say to Dronacharya? Now if you read this verse and translate it as, seeing the army of Pandavas, Duryodhana approached his teacher Dronacharya and said, that will be a very simplistic translation. Correct. But there is more to it. Some commentators add some more insight. They try to look and see, how did he approach? Why did he approach? Etc. Some say he approached him with arrogance. And others say, very apprehensively, he wanted to talk to his teacher. In warfare and allay his concerns. He was very afraid. He wanted to hide his fear. And so on. Duryodhana has done so many evil things that he had fear in his mind. He feared that the outcome of this war was not going to be good. So to reassure himself, he goes to Dronacharya. When you go to a teacher, you should go with love and respect, not as a Raja, okay? As it is said here. All these are interesting nuances of human behavior. All that is indicated in these lines. Anyway, what did he say? He said, Pashyaitam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamum Vyudham Drupata Putrena Tava Shishyena Dhimata Pashyaitam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamum Vyudham Drupata Putrena Tava Shishyena Dhimata. Duryodhana said, Hey Acharya, O teacher, Pashya, see, behold, Yetam Panduputranam Mahatim Chamum. See the huge army of the sons of Pandu. And who is the commander-in-chief of Pandava's army that has arranged that army? He says, Vyudham Drupata Putrena. The army array was done by Drupada Putra, son of Drupada, and that is Drishtyadyumna. Who is this Drishtyadyumna? Duryodhana says, Tava Shishya. Your student. Just needling him some more. Not only is he your student, he is also Dhimata. He is very clever, very cunning, very intelligent. he has learned all these skills, the army skills, from you. And he is using that knowledge and he is ready to destroy you. In fact, Drishtadyumna was born exclusively to kill Dronacharya. We will see this episode in that story when we come to that. I'll briefly mention it here. Drupada and Drona had a rivalry. And Drupada was not powerful enough to destroy Drona. They had a personal score to settle. Actually, Drona had. And so, he conducted an exclusive sacrifice to get a son who will be able to kill Drona. So the son goes to Drona to learn the skills of warfare. See this, even though Drona knew that Drishtadyumna was born exclusively to kill him, he still teaches him. That's because Dharma Shastra says, it actually dictates that when a qualified student comes to a teacher and the teacher who has that knowledge should give that knowledge to the student. And so, Drishtadyumna studied under Dronacharya only. Now Duryodhana jabs Drona with this little detail. He got this knowledge from you and he is using it against you. It's very clever and cunning. Don't go easy on Arjuna also, your favorite student. Arjuna's army is commanded by your arch enemy. You should show no mercy on them. This is the time to take revenge. So he continues. Atra shura maheshwasa Bhimarjuna samayudhi Yuyudano viratascha Drupatascha maharatah Atra shura maheshwasa Bhimarjuna samayudhi Yuyudano viratascha Drupatascha maharatah. So now Duryodhana is listing now the various warriors, the powerful soldiers, the Pandavas' army. Who are they? Atra Sura Maheshwasah, Maharatah, Shurah. Shurah means valorous ones, courageous. Courageous they are. They are not afraid of our army. They are all Maheshwasah. Ishwasah means a bow. That bow which shoots arrows. So Maheshwasah means those who wield mighty bows. Some of them they have obtained from divine sources. So they have powerful bows and arrows. Each of them is a Maharatah or Maharatihi. This is a title that is given to certain soldiers based on their capacity and accomplishments in wars. Some of those titles are like Ardharatihi, Ratihi, Maharatihi, Atiratihi, and so on. Even today we have military ranks. Colonels, major, lieutenant colonel, general, 4-star general, 5-star general, all that we have. Same like that. So who can have the title of Maharatihi? The one who can fight 10,000 soldiers at a time, single-handedly. Imagine the strength of that warrior. If he can fight more people than that, he gets the title of Atiratihi. So Duryodhana says here that Pandava's army has many Maharathis. Many Maharathis. So he says they are Shurah, Maheshwasah, Maharatah, and they are Bhimarjuna Sama, as powerful as Bhima and Arjuna in Yudhi, in war. In a battle, they are as great as Bhima and Arjuna. Everybody in the Pandava's army is as good as Bhima and Arjuna. Who are they? As a sample, he gives some names. Yuyudhanaha, another name for Satyaki. Then Virata and Drupada, the father of Draupadi. All of them are great warriors. There are more people. Drishtaketuschekitanaha, Drishtaketuscheti, Drishtaketuschekitanaha, Kashirajascha Viryavan, Kashirajascha Viryavan, Purujet Kunti Bhojascha, Purujet Kunti Bhojascha, Shaibhyascha Narapungavah, Shaibhyascha Narapungavah, Drishtaketuschekitanaha, Kashirajascha Viryavan, Purujet Kunti Bhojascha, Shaibhyascha Narapungavah. Not only Satyaki, Virata and Drupada, there are more powerful warriors, such as Drishtaketu, Chekitana, Kasiraja, the king of Kashi, who is a great Viryavan, the most powerful king of Kashi. Then Purujit, Kunti Bhoja. Kunti Bhoja was the father of Kunti. And Shaibhya. They are all great warriors. Shaibhya is described as Narapungava, greatest among men. All these great warriors are on Pandava's army. As Duryodhana enumerates all these great men, his fear is increasing. So he continues, Yudhamanyuscha Vikranta, Yudhamanyuscha Vikranta, Uttamaujascha Viryavan, Uttamaujascha Viryavan, Saubhadro Draupadeyascha, Saubhadro Draupadeyascha, Sarvayeva Maharatah, sarva eva maharataah yudhamanyuscha vikranta yuttamaujascha viryavan saubhadro draupadeyascha sarva eva maharataah. There are more powerful soldiers on their side. Yudhamanyu, who is a Vikranta, a powerful and valorous soldier. Uttamauja, who is also a Viryavan. Viryavan. Then Saubhadra, another name for Abhimanyu, son of Subhadra, Draupadeyah, sons of Draupadi. There were 5 of them, one from each Pandava. They were all powerful warriors in the Mahabharata war. How powerful were they? Sarva eva maharatah. They were all Maharathis. As said earlier, they were all capable of fighting 10,000 soldiers simultaneously. As he was saying all this, Duryodhana thought, I am talking too much about how great the opponent is, enumerating who are all there. I am praising them too much. Drona was just silently looking at him. So he begins to talk about his own side. Oh teacher, for your information, I want to tell you about the heroes on our side. Asmakam tu vishishtaye, asmakam tu vishishtaye, Tani bodha dvijottama, Tani bodha dvijottama, Nayaka mama sainyasya, Nayaka mama sainyasya, Samnyartam tan bravimite, Samnyartam tan bravimite, Asmakam tu vishishtaye, Tani bodha dvijottama, Nayaka mama sainyasya, Samnyartam tan bravimite. So Duryodhana continues, having enumerated the important people on the Pandava side, he now gives the list on his side. The idea is to compare the relative strengths of the two armies. He says, Hey Dvijottama, that is Dronacharya. You must remember, Drona is a Brahmana. So Duryodhana addresses him as such. He also wants to hint, hey, this is a war. You don't act as a Brahmana here on the battlefield. Be a warrior. Evaluate the relative strengths of the armies and command our troops appropriately. Now, Tan Nibodha, may you note the important warriors on our side also. Asmakam tu vishishtaha. Among us, the prominent ones are, who are the Nayaka, Mama Sainyasya, the leaders and commanders of our army. I am Tan Bravimite, saying this to you. Samnyartam, for your information. You don't know them, but I just wanted to bring to your attention, and you may have an idea about the relative strengths of the armies. Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha, Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha, Krupascha Samitinjayah, Krupascha Samitinjayah, Ashwattama Vikarnascha, Ashwattama Vikarnascha, Saumadattattistataivacha, Saumadattistataiva cha Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha Kripascha Samitinjayah Ashwattama Vikarnascha Saumadattistataiva cha. So he gives a list. The first and topmost in the list is Bhavan, your honor. He is addressing Drona. He better name him first and with respect. Not only that, he was also his teacher in warfare. Then the next one is Bhishma, the grandsire. Then Karna. Karna was there. Kripacharya, who is a Samitinjaya, one who is ever victorious in battle. Undefeated champion he is. Then Ashwattama, who is also a great warrior, and he is also the son of Dronacharya. Vikarna, who is Duryodhana's brother, and Saumadatti, Tataivacha, all these people are on our side. More are there. And he lists them in the next verse. Anye cha bahavas shuraha, anye cha bahavas shuraha, madartye tyakta jivitaha, madartye tyakta jivitaha, nana shastra prakaranaha, nana shastra prakaranaha, sarve yuddha visharadaha, sarve yuddha visharadaha, anye cha bahava shuraha, madatye tyakta jivitaha, nana shastra prakaranaha, sarve yuddha visharadaha. Anye cha bahava shuraha. There are other brave men and those who will madatye tyakta jivitaha. They are ready to lay down their lives for my sake, in support of me. Even if they are not directly involved in this war, they are willing to even sacrifice their life and support me. Even in modern history and even today, the feuding countries will be two, and then Russia will take one side, America takes another side, and many other nations are allied with one side or the other. Mahabharata war also, the kings of various kingdoms around joined forces with both sides. They are ready to renounce their lives for my sake. They are not ordinary people. But Nana Shastra, many types of weapons, Prakaranaha, many missiles. They are able to handle all that. Shastra is a weapon that is held in the hand, like a sword, mace, etc. It never leaves the hand. Prakarana are released from the weapons, like arrow shot and a bow and a spear and all that. All of them are using such weapons. So like this is a description. This is all just a description of what is in the battlefield. And more of it we will see in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasheshyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.